Hello, welcome to Stowhill Estates Meets. I'm Tim from Stowhill Estates Berkshire, as you may know by now, and today we are at Maidenhead United Football Club, and we're going to be having a chat with Gaurav from Home Mortgages, so let's go and find him. Gaurav, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for welcoming us to Maidenhead United Football Club. Maybe let's start there. Why are we here?
Because we sponsor them, which is great. But yeah, thanks for having me, Tim.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. And you've got some signage around the ground over there, right?
Yeah, so we've got it just in front of the Maidenhead United sign. So it's just there, nicely placed for everyone to see.
Perfect place to have it.
Yep.
We'll maybe see if we can get a quick shot of that later on.
Yeah.
So Gaurav, you're joining us from Home Mortgages. Let's maybe explain a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why we're chatting today.
Yeah, sure. So Home Mortgages is the name. We do mortgages. So we help clients with their residential needs, the buy-to-let mortgage needs. We also help high net worth clients as well, and also any foreign nationals. Mm-hmm. So we deal with all kind of spectrums of the mortgage market, as well as protection. So things like life insurance, critical illness, income protection, and also business insurance. So we do a lot of stuff within the company.
And how long have you been in this game for, as it were?
Right, so in mortgages, I've been in there for just over a decade. Financial services as a whole, probably about 12 years now.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that's quite a stint.
Yeah.
So you must like what you're doing.
Yeah, I like what I do.
Yeah.
I'm good at it, so I keep doing it, which is good. So I don't need to change anything. But yeah, it's been good. I do like the mortgage side of stuff, and helping people buy their first home as well. It's just there's a satisfaction that you get from doing so. It's just the next chapter in their lives which we get to help out with, which is great.
Yeah. Do you think that that's the thing that kind of keeps you in the industry? Because it's almost like there's an element of that that's quite sort of altruistic, and that you're helping other people as well.
Yeah, so it's quite strange. Like, we help customers with the remortgage side of stuff, which is okay to do, and obviously we love doing it as well, and it's helping them with any other needs they have. But those first-time buyers that we get, it's just there's something special about it. They're doing it for the first time. They don't understand a lot of stuff, so we help them out with that. But once they get the keys for the new property, the agent's happy, we're happy, and the solicitor's happy. But we've helped the customer from the very beginning right to the end, and we still help them afterwards. And it's just something about we help that customer buy their first property where they can then start a family or wherever they want to do afterwards, and it's nice having that stamp on it.
So there's new chapters.
Yeah, brand new chapters, really good.
Amazing. And as you guys can see, we're sort of in the thick of the action today. So we've got the railway in the background, we've got kids club over there. Like, this is a social hub. There's a lot of stuff happening in this area at the moment, which is great. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff, and the club is one of the main points of it as well. So they do a lot of community stuff. They've got over 40 different youth club teams as well. And for us as a sponsorship, we've got to sign on the pitch side, but they do a lot more stuff with us. So we were involved with the Premier League Primary Stars, which is to help educate kids from local schools, where I taught them maths, and they include a lot of the companies with what they're doing. And it's not like a sponsorship, it's more of a partnership that they have. And they do a lot of stuff within the local area. When I moved here to Maidenhead, the club was one of the main points off the town, the village, and everyone knows the club. Yeah. And it was just a great way to get into understanding the town more and getting into friendships and partnerships with different businesses.
I love that. And I know from, I'll let you into a secret, viewers. Obviously, one of the things that we want to do with Stowhill Estates Meets is we're meeting businesses with the people that we work with and people that we know. And I know from previous conversations, you've talked about kind of your desire to get in and support in schools and educate kids on financial responsibility and fiscal responsibility and all the practical stuff that actually isn't necessarily part of a curriculum at the moment.
Yeah.
Which, personally speaking, I know I would have massively benefited from that. Yeah. If I'd had access to that type of information when I was a bit younger.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone can benefit from it. There's a lot of stuff that you see on social media now where you've got these financial influencers who they're really great at explaining and educating people that there's a financial need that you need when you're younger, but are they the right people to advise people what to do when they don't have the experience or the qualifications to do so? Everyone can sit there and tell you how to budget, but it's not qualified. It's not going to tell you how to get things like get a mortgage or how to save going forward and where to save. So it's about trying to get the people the right advice. And if we can get qualified advisors or qualified financial advisors into schools, and help them with the curriculum and just do a one-off seminar every term or wherever it may be, we can help more people. Especially with the kids, don't get taught how to budget or what credit cards are. They just spend, and then that eventually affects them when they get a mortgage, which I've seen since day one of being in the industry of mortgages.
Yeah.
A lot of first-time buyers are hit by overspending on credit cards, not understanding it properly, don't know how to pay it back. So there's a lot more stuff that can be done. It's a massive task, but it's something we can help with.
But that's a great thing to be involved with as well.
Yeah.
And if we kind of take a step backwards, I suppose, from that almost, we're talking about going and helping kids and educating them a bit and giving them access to information they might not otherwise have. In the position that you're in now, with over a decade of experience, if you were talking to your younger self, is there one piece of advice that you'd give yourself, as whether that's as a young man or as a child? Like, what would you be saying now?
Two things.
Yeah.
Save.
Yeah.
And credit cards, you have to pay them back. Those are two things I would tell my young self.
Two very important lessons, I suppose.
Exactly.
And to an extent, I guess they go hand in hand a little bit.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I think when I was really young, I got my first job in Santander. And obviously, as an employee, you get the credit cards given to you. You think, I'll spend money on the credit cards, I'll pay back afterwards. You're paying interest, and you're not really paying it off until you learn afterwards. You're like, okay, cool, I need to start paying this off, not go out as much, and then you kind of improve from there. So, and it's one of the things, like when I look back at what I want to do with the schools, I'd never got that education. Parents will tell you just don't spend, but that's as far as it will go with them. So it's how we can help people to do that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot to do.
I think it's a great message for anybody, I reckon. But I think that one of the things is that life goes on. Right? Everyone has to exist, and so actually, in reality, in our probably culturally, especially in like the country that we live in, people do rely on spending power that credit cards provide them. But that in itself isn't the problem.
Yeah.
Or a bad thing per se.
No.
It's about using it in a way that allows you to not then put yourself in a worse position.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's instances where people overspend on the credit cards and they live on the credit cards, which you can do if you can afford to pay it back or you have a payment plan to pay it back at least. But there's a lot of people that just live in debt.
Yeah.
And then when times get tough like it is now, then people really struggle because then the interest rates on credit cards go up, the mortgage rates go up, and like, how do we start paying back our debts now?
Yeah.
And it's something that can be avoided. It's just making sure you've got the right plan in place, and budgeting comes down to budgeting quite a lot as well. But people in the UK just spend on credit cards anyway. It's just what we're used to be doing, and it's just the way it goes. But if you can manage it, then great. You keep spending on credit cards and just pay it back slowly, and that's it.
I remember when I was a kid, I remember my dad just saying to me, like, just don't have a credit card. You don't need a credit card. And then you fairly quickly realise that actually you kind of do.
Yeah.
And there's, I guess, I don't know, you'll be able to tell us but better than I will, but I guess there's an element of that actually there's advantages to building up a credit rating when it comes to things like mortgage applications.
Yeah.
If you can have a positive credit score. And I suppose in order to get to that point, you need to have some experience of borrowing and paying back. And all the rest of it.
Exactly that. So like there's some lenders who, as a first-time buyer, if you only have a current account and a phone bill, they don't know if you're worthy to lend against because you've never had borrowing, you've never paid it back. So it's a big, massive question mark. Imagine sometimes it will get declined, which is why they tell you get a credit card, use it £100 a month, and then pay off in full. It will boost your credit rating up quite a bit, and your reliance on paying back borrowed money, essentially. That's where it's beneficial. When it's not, it's when you're borrowing money on the credit card, using it up to the limit, not paying it back, then you're not really credit worthy because you're living on someone else's money, essentially. I think like your dad's used to, my dad used to say, don't get a credit card. If you can afford to buy it, buy it. If you can't, just leave it. Before, mortgages were easier to get. It's just self-certification.
Yeah.
So the lovely good old days. But now it's more about, are you worthy to lend against?
Yeah, that's very true. And we don't even want to get into the whole realms of relative property costs against relative incomes and all the rest of it. But we're living in a different time.
Yeah, completely different
time. Perhaps when our parents were buying property or our grandparents were buying property.
Yeah.
It's very different. 2023 is an interesting year in the property market in general. There was activity when people didn't anticipate it. There was no activity when people thought there would be. How was it for you?
It was up and down quite a bit. So 2023 as a whole was a really strange year. Not like the financial crisis we had in 2008, 2009. It's completely different. It seems to have more of an impact because it's not just the housing market, it's everything that's going on. But it's picking up quite a bit. It's towards the end of 23 picked up quite a bit. 24 would be quite good. We'll probably see a base rate cut, estimated maybe half year, but it'll probably be sooner. With inflation continuously going down, which is great. So you just need to ride out the storm in 23, and then you can flourish in 24. And I think that's what will happen, and especially going into 25, I think it will pick up quite a bit.
See, this is interesting, and because from our business's point of view, we kind of feel the same about it. We sit here now, the beginning of a new year, and we're kind of looking forward with optimism.
Yeah.
You know, we saw a couple of consecutive base rate holds. We saw inflation starting to come down towards the back end of the year.
Yeah.
And actually, the message there is starting to become a bit more positive as a lot of mortgage lenders as well started to bring down the rates on their products.
Yeah.
From numbers that we're seeing points in the year at plus 6%.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see that come back down again. And I think that we certainly anticipate that will start to stimulate a bit more activity. But that must bring in more customers for you as well.
Yeah, it definitely helps, because when customers see the base rate being held, or they see the mortgage lenders reducing rates, and you start seeing them starting at 4 point something, it just sparks a conversation for that client, right? Let me see how much I can borrow now. These are the houses I've seen. And it just gives them that push to start looking, because they know in 3 to 6 months it's going to be a better position. So they want to get in front of the line now, as opposed to waiting. That just brings them more customers, and we can help them more. So when they're ready to actually put an offer in and it's accepted, we can help them with the mortgage application. So I think this year, 2024, will be a big year for us.
And I think a lot of people as well have started to find out maybe a bit more about what it means to go through an application process, an agreement in principle, etc. Because lenders, if a better product becomes available, will have to make that available to the lendee, even if they've already been approved, right? Yeah,
exactly. So there's a lot of misconceptions, right? So when people go to their bank direct, the banks will give them that mortgage product that's available at the time, and it'll go to offer, and that's their job done. That's all it is. The bank's got the offer. If the bank then reduces the rates, it's highly unlikely the bank will tell you the rates have changed, because it's not in their interest to do so. You've secured a mortgage offer at 5%, but it's now 4%. Whereas for us, the brokers, we keep an eye on the market every single week after we've done the application, because we know the market's changing, and we need to ensure the customer's got the best rate at any given time. So from the point they apply to the point they exchange, we'll change the product as many times as we need to make sure they've got the best. And we do end up saving clients thousands of pounds over the 2 years or the 5 years or whatever product they take. But we're just on the ball with the product, so they don't need to worry or stress. We'll make sure they've got the best product at any time.
Which is great, right? And that's why you want to take qualified advice and have somebody work. And there'll be plenty of people. I say plenty of people. There might be like 5 people watching this, but of that 5, some of them will have been through multiple mortgage applications. They'll have been through, multiple moves, etc. But there might equally be people who are new to the market, like you're talking about with first-time buyers earlier. Explain maybe for the benefit of somebody that's not familiar with it, what outside of what we were just talking about, getting the best product. But the other benefits of using a broker rather than just doing it yourself, because some people might say, well, how much is it going to cost me, for example? So how does that work?
So obviously every broker charges differently. So we charge our client's fee, but only on mortgage offers. So we don't charge anything up front. So we take the risk that we'll give them the advice. If they use us, great, which most likely they will, because of the service we offer. But if they go elsewhere, they can go elsewhere if they need to. But we've given them that service. So I always tell clients, whenever they speak to us or through social media or on our website, it's speak to a broker, because we can look at the whole market. Every property that they're going for is going to be different. So people aren't aware of it, but there's criteria when it comes to buying an apartment. It's how many floors is there? Has it got a lift that works? You may think it's what's the need for it, but there's a requirement from the lender. Some lenders won't go over 10 stories if there's more than 10 floors in the block. Some will. And it also depends on location. But also houses as well. It's what materials are being built from, how many acres is it. So there's so many different criteria involved. You're not going to know where to go and how to look for it. Unless you want to go through the 40, 50 different lenders available, feel free to do so. But the time and energy it will take, that property will go somewhere else.
And that access to the whole market is a game changer.
Exactly. We've got the tools available to look at all of the criteria as a whole. So we know, and especially with the experience we have, we know what you're looking for, especially when it comes to income as well. So we can match up the income, the deposits, the property type, what you're looking for all together and position it. And then we recommend these are the best products for you. And we'll explain why it's the best product. And we'll also explain why the other products haven't been chosen. So there's full transparency, and that's what we do in our job. We just tell you exactly how it is. This is what we're doing. And we'll just guide them throughout the whole process.
Now that must be also super helpful for people that are in specific scenarios or circumstances. So I'm thinking of things like maybe self-build mortgages, or people who are self-employed, or in certain industries where perhaps typically it's been harder to get what I would call a standard mortgage product, right, from the main high street banks. So is there any advice or any kind of, I suppose, specific nuggets of wisdom that you could give people there, other than just phone you?
Yeah, that'll be the first one, just phone us. I'd say to every single person is that your situation is different to your friend or your family. Even though you're working, if you're both employed, your circumstances are completely different. So your experience, your background, your credit history, everything you have is different, so don't think it's the same. I know a lot of social groups out there will talk about mortgage rates, because it was the talk of 23, and they'll be like, I've got this rate, or I've got this product. And when I speak to customers, or the team do, they're like, oh, my friend got XYZ rate from this lender, why can't I do it? But the circumstance is so different. Don't think you're the same as someone else. You've got to look at yourself as different to it. And if you understand that, then you'll know the advice is specific to you, not just the advice for everyone, because it doesn't work that way. But if people understand their circumstances are different, they'll be more open to receiving advice. And rightly so, which thing everyone should get advice anyway. But yeah, just think of yourself as different. Your circumstances are different to your next door neighbour, or your brother, or your sister, or your family.
Yeah.
It's just different.
Everybody's unique.
Yep.
Make informed decisions, people.
Yeah.
Okay, we are in the cage next to the pitch. What we're going to do is penalty shootout questions. So if Gaurav scores, which he probably will, because I'm rubbish in goal, I have to answer any question he wants. If I save it, vice versa, he's getting my question.
Right.
Hit me, big fella.
Oh! Good save.
Okay, I've got bad news.
Yep.
It's a good question, though. If you could be any other person for a day, who are you being?
Klopp.
Jurgen Klopp.
Jurgen Klopp.
I mean, he's got great teeth.
Which he purchased. No, I'd be him. Just to get into his mindset. I know he's quite influential in like how he talks to people.
Yeah.
And just to have that for a day would be quite good. And obviously I'd be around Liverpool Football Club and around my favourite players.
Because you're a Liverpool fan, right?
Yes.
Don't tell Maidenhead. But you know, as a second team.
Second team, yeah. Right.
Okay, one more, because I've got to give you the chance to level it up.
I need to score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he's done me with the eyes. Okay, your question, Gaurav.
If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
To me, there is only one food that even gets into the equation here, and it's pizza.
Great choice.
The way I view pizza is it contains all the major food groups.
Yeah.
You can put anything on top of it, and it's never going to go bad. Even controversially, pineapple.
I agree, apart from the last bit.
You'd be amazed how many times I hear that. Touch. Is that in? No, nearly. I always think it's interesting to find out how people tick, what makes them tick. And an interesting approach to that is talking about superpowers.
Yeah.
So if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
That's a really good question. I would have to go back in time.
Oh, time travel.
Time travel.
Doctor Who-esque, or
Yep.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
It's been that way. But yeah, no, I would have to have the power to go back in time.
Where would you go? What era? Where are you starting?
To be fair, not even that far back. I would just like to just relive what I've done before.
Oh, nice.
And just have the knowledge of whatever else is around me. Knowing the future.
So it's a bit like your future self, you're giving your past self more advice.
Yeah, pretty much. All the advice I would need.
And lottery numbers.
Lottery numbers.
Yeah.
Shares in Apple and all sorts. I'll just go back in time and spend time with people that aren't here. So basically
nice.
just go through that.
Could you do me a favour while you're there and just look me up with those lottery numbers?
Yeah, I'll do you a favour.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
It's all right.
So, Gaurav, earlier on, we had our moment in the spotlight of footballing wonderment.
Yep.
And we touched on the fact that you're a Liverpool fan. Favourite Liverpool player?
Currently or all time?
Let's do both.
Right. Currently, Mohamed Salah, and all time Steven Gerrard.
Stevie G.
Stevie G, the man.
He is a legend of the cop.
Yep. He is.
And I don't even, I don't mind saying that. I'm a Tottenham fan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
But normally that's quite non-threatening to people because it just means we've never won anything for about 30 years. But it's not generally a problem. But he's he's an unbelievable player, Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, he's a great player. When I first started watching Liverpool, I was probably about 7, and he wasn't in the team yet. Michael Owen was in the team.
Yeah.
And his finishing was just unreal. And I used to enjoy watching them play. And then just carried on watching them. They never used to win much anyway back then. In 97, 98, they didn't really do a lot. So
I mean, Man United were winning everything at that point, weren't they?
yeah, they just started winning everything.
Yeah.
And Arsenal were lurking around.
Yeah.
And
Close to the Invincibles.
Yeah. And then I just started to support Liverpool, and then Gerrard came in the team, and there was just something about him. He just used to run the show, and he used to be everywhere, and his passion for it as well. And he obviously grew up watching it even more, and it's just, then started going to Anfield, watching the matches, seeing him play in person, which is insane. And just how he used to pass the ball like 40, 50 yards, pinpoint, and his shooting was unreal. But yeah, he's just won so much.
Is there one particular game that sticks out that you remember seeing?
Olympiacos.
Oh yeah.
The one that turned it all around for us in the Champions League. I remember watching that game, and it was just, we needed to score because it was on goal difference in the group stages when we needed it. It was away, but he just came out with that ridiculous goal, and just the commentating for that is still around. Any time anyone takes a shot, you still hear Andy Gray's voice when he's commentating on it against it. And it's insane how he just managed to get that power behind it and get it in. And he did the similar thing against West Ham in the FA Cup final in 06, the year after, which was just right at the last second of the game.
It's one of those like seminal bits of commentary that gets rolled out in all montages, along with Aguero.
Along with that one,
that's
up there as well. So he was such a great player.
Yeah,
such a good player, and it's just. Hopefully Trent follows in his footsteps a bit now. I mean, which is good.
Personally speaking, I'm very glad that we've got Trent in the England squad.
Yeah.
But his flexibility is the amazing thing.
He can play right back. Everyone says he's not that great defensively, but he's put it up against some of the best players. And him in midfield should hopefully be something else. He's just coming into his peak, in his prime soon. He's only 25.
Yeah.
Still got a long way to go, but his all-round game is just insane.
Gives amazing options for delivery as well.
Yeah.
With him and Trippier.
Yeah.
Potentially both in the same starting lineup. I think that's quite interesting. Harry Kane can't stop scoring in the Bundesliga at the moment.
Exactly. He's on different form. Let's see if he wins anything. And Bayern, first season away from Spurs, let's see.
I mean, it would be very Spursy.
Yeah, very.
For him to leave and then win straight away, wouldn't it? But the less said about Tottenham, the better. So let's move away. Let's move away from that subject. I like to play this game with people. I call it fantasy dinner party.
Yep.
You can have. We'll keep it small because otherwise the game could get too long.
Yeah.
You can have 3 guests, alive or dead.
Cool.
Who are you inviting?
First, Muhammad Ali. I think he will just have entertainment, all the jokes that you need, and just his wit.
Excellent poetry as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll just have an aura around him.
Yeah.
Steven Gerrard, that'll be quite nice.
You're going to have quite a fit and healthy table.
Yeah, exactly. Need someone else now. I'd probably say Barack Obama.
Oh, nice.
I think that would be a very interesting conversation just to speak to him and see how things are, and try and hear Muhammad Ali and Steven Gerrard together. They probably won't understand Gerrard anyway, which would be quite nice, quite fun. But yeah, I think that would be a nice little trio. That's
going to be an interesting evening.
There would be.
There'll be some stories there. I'm fairly sure.
All different backgrounds and all different stories that they have, which would be quite nice.
Yeah, that's so true. I was playing this game with Jules the other day. Jules is behind the camera at the moment, and I was playing this game with Jules the other day, and everybody that she chose was living guests. And I said, "Do you not want anybody, more historical?" She said, "They don't affect my life as much as people that are still around." So
fair point.
Yeah, so it's nice to broaden the pool a bit.
Yeah.
So it's nice. We're sitting here now. You guys will do a cutaway in a second, so you can see the sunshine that's just started to bathe the pitch in dappled. I sound like a terrible commentator, but as we are full of hope and optimism for the next year. Any New Year's resolutions you're going to be making? Or have made, I should say.
Yeah.
So let's put it this way: are there any you're going to stick to?
No, no. I never stick to it. I do this every year. I'll come up with a few things and it will change. What I do instead is I just have goals for the whole year and just tick them off as it goes along, instead of just saying, January everyone has this optimism, I'm going to do great, and then February comes and be like, right, let's just rubbish it, let's change it. So I've given myself a few goals for next year instead, about 4 or 5 for 2024 to tackle, which would be good. So on the way for that. So we're heading towards them.
Love it.
It's good, personal and business related, so it's good.
Well, look, I wish you and Homey Mortgages all the very best for the new year. Look forward to carrying on working with you guys.
Yep.
And thanks very much for joining us today.
No, it's been great. It's been great working with you and Julia as well. It's been amazing, and a lot more to come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
2024 is going to be a fun year.
It'll be a really good year. Yeah.
Thanks, Gaurav.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.